Hello, welcome back to another edition of our Simpsons season review. If you haven't seen any of our other videos, feel free, go and check them out. In this video, we'll be reviewing Season 2, Episode 18, Brush with Greatness. And this episode originally aired on April the 11th, 1991.
Now, viewing figures for this one, second episode in the row, the viewing figures drop only slightly down to 20.6 million. But again,
we're starting to see a bit of a trend where the ratings are going slightly down, but maybe that's because they're not used to having 20, because it's a 22 episode season for season 2.
And the fact that season 1 was 13, so maybe it's a fact of now it's getting a bit too much maybe for some audiences. They just prefer the shorter versions, or the shorter series, should I say. So now they're stretching it out. But again, it's not disastrous. The
still
figures,
decent because it's earlier Simpsons.
Yeah,
still popular.
At this point, the viewing figures start to fluctuate up and down, but not too seriously low expectations.
So we've got two, I would say, major plot lines, and one which co-joins with another. So like you got Marge with Mr. Burns, but then you got Homer's. Would you say it's a main story as well, to trying to lose weight?
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, the weight one sort of interlinks into the Marge one as well. Yeah, it does go off in its own little path for a while, but it's normally interlinking. So it's sort of two stories, but all the stories sort of link together in this one. So
must be a first.
Yeah, it's just a weird one for it. But we started the episode with Krusty doing a TV special from Mount Splashmore. They've apparently been there all week, and now he's trying to get kids that haven't been there at all to basically come down and visit.
But Lisa and Bart were watching it, and they were obsessed. He wanted to go, so then they pester Homer for hours on end, where eventually he actually caves in and actually takes him to Mount Splashmore.
But again, you can't blame him, because having the same saying, take us to Mount Splashmore over and over again for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. How he even managed to last as long as he did.
Give me some earplugs.
Yeah. But yeah, as I say, he agrees to take them eventually just to shut them up.
This is a start of him mentioning his weight in the episode.
Yeah, basically the setup to it starts with him putting on his swimming trunks. When he first puts them on, before he ties them, he's got a face on his behind. It starts off as a smiling face, but as soon as he ties them, it turns into an unhappy face. And when he gets into the car, he's telling the kids he's got to move the seat back, even though
Lisa's squashed.
And it's clearly back anyway. When he gets to the park, they eventually agreed to basically do their own thing.
They do, but then isn't it Marge or Homer who actually says, let's stick together, and then you all just go to separate ways, basically.
Yeah.
Where we find Bart and Lisa gonna want on a water slide, is it?
Yeah.
Where Bart thinks, the queue's not big, then the queue's massive. And if you're from the UK or wherever, actually even Orlando, Florida, you'll see massive queues similar to this one. It's the way Bart does it is quite ingenious. Saying to Lisa, cry, looking for your mummy. So then he goes past everyone, goes to the front of the queue. This is a good way to do it.
Yeah, and then we see Homer just afterwards hitting the same queue. His idea, he starts barging through and then says he's a health inspector and how he's here for people's safety.
That's when the woman...
Yeah, God bless you, son, and all this. So obviously, Bart and Lisa end up going down firstly. Then Homer goes down. But considering I would imagine the tubes are the same size, he gets stuck further down. But again, maybe that's the fact he gets stuck on a curve, so maybe the curve makes it slightly smaller.
But wouldn't the guy who works on the actual slide have known that he's a bit overweight for the tube, or is he one of these workers who's not bothered about his job, just wants to pay packet and go, yeah, you can go down?
Again, it might just be one of those of the fact they don't think that anybody big enough is gonna go, because like they say in the control room, it's like, oh, it's too big to be a human.
Yeah.
So you don't even believe that you get a big enough human going down there.
Yeah, true.
And their idea is to send kids down to unblock it.
Isn't that more? It's not dangerous anyway.
Yeah, it's like even if they don't think it's human, a blockage, it could be anything. You're sending kids down there. Well, how do they know it's not a wild animal or something?
Yeah.
Just waiting to eat them or something ridiculous.
And when they're rescuing Homer from the tube and he's up in the air, where are the kids? Have they sent someone down with a rope before they rescue Homer to get the kids and bring them back up?
Yeah, it is a weird sort of one. But yeah, like you say, never explained.
What a way to ruin a day trip, though, Homer.
Homer didn't want to go in the first place.
No.
But yeah, this just leads to Homer flicking through the TV stations at home. Basically, everything on the TV is about him and him getting stuck.
And that's where he asks his family, have I put on a bit of weight?
And they don't try and lie to him and say he's fine, like Marge has done in an earlier series, the Princess Kashmir episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Where he gets on the scales and then Marge comes to him and says he's big cuddly teddy bear, so he just forgets about the fact he's big anyway. But in this one, it's like, even Lisa says, well, you got to give us time. It takes time to sugarcoat a response. Yeah. So yeah, from here he decides that he's going to go on a diet, and basically once he weighs himself the first time, his weight comes in at £265.
Hasn't that been done in a similar episode later on in the seasons, where he wants to put on weight and he gets on the scales?
Yeah, it was trying to gain. It was a £400.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, again, I think it has been referenced in other episodes. I think possibly in the earlier episode as well. Yeah, it was £239 in that same episode in Homer's Night Out episode and King Size Homer. So yeah, he's actually gained even more weight at this point. But again, not surprising, the amount of food he eats.
And beer he drinks.
Yeah. Even though they don't really make him look any fatter, it's just like, well, he still looks like the same size, but he's just gained more weight.
Yeah. This is when he has rice cakes. Well, tasteless rice cakes.
Yeah. Just prior to this, he's looking for his weights. Well, he's looking for weights, and that's when he discovers Marge's paintings of Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
He gets quite upset at seeing the one of... Well, he gets upset going through them, but he's more upset by the last one of her and Ringo getting married.
But she chose Homer, so I don't know what he's got to be worried about.
Yeah, and like you say, the rice cakes. Marge says, yeah, you can put some on there for some taste, where he decides to put half the fridge on there.
And he doesn't like it because it's on pork chop night.
Yeah, pork chop night. He's like, I've started my diet on pork chop night. But again, you're on a diet. As we found out in earlier episodes, the food nights go in circles, so you're going to miss pork chop night once a week anyway. But yeah, Marge in the instance are going through her old photos, and then she explains what happens with her old art tutor, saying they weren't up to scratch, and just the fact that she's doing too many paintings of Ringo Starr. To the fact of Lisa, who's the encouraging figure yet again.
Yeah.
Well, basically says that maybe she should take up art classes again. Ask Homer. Homer's typical response of, would I have to do anything? She's like, no, it's like, well, knock yourself out.
Yeah, it's good for Homer because lazy, can't be bothered to do anything.
Yeah. But then we get to the college, night school, whatever the education centre may be, and basically she goes to the other end of the spectrum with an art teacher. She ends up with an art teacher who thinks everything's wonderful, even to the extent of a guy who's just painting a banister in the place.
Yeah, he goes a bit OTT.
Doing a wonderful job. And
Or was he taking the biscuit out of him, or was he really that enthusiastic?
no, it does come across being enthusiastic to the point of we'll get to it at the end of the episode. But yeah, I think this is actually the fact that he does like all this sort of stuff, and basically he then likes Marge's painting of Homer sleeping so much that he says he's going to enter it into the Springfield painting competition, of which it gets first prize.
And Homer's not even concerned that she drew a picture of him on the sofa. It's like an embarrassing portrait of yourself, seeing yourself in a lazy position on the sofa. It's like, doesn't bode well for Homer.
Yeah, I mean, possibly it's the fact he might have... Maybe he did get annoyed at first when he found out what was going on and Marge has calmed him down. Possibly.
Do you remember in the later series when Bart did some drawings?
Oh, Angry Dad.
Angry Dad. Homer didn't like that one.
But again, maybe character development, maybe back here he's not as conscious of himself. Maybe he takes it as a compliment because he's doing weight loss and he thinks that the painting shows him losing weight or something.
Maybe.
But again, he's in his underwear basically in the painting, so yeah, a weird one.
Yeah.
But again, Marge painting half dressed people sort of leads into the final bit, which again we'll get to in a while. From this we then go into the power plant, Mr. Burns getting his portrait painted, but basically not liking the picture and basically firing this painter.
Well, there's a lot of paintings been drawn of him. He didn't like any of them.
Yeah, basically we find out he's fired every single painter that's tried to do it. From this point, we find out it's Smithers' idea for him to have his painting done.
As always.
Yeah, and really, is this the first episode that we really see the seeds being planted, Smithers having feelings for Mr. Burns?
We've seen it slightly in other episodes, but I think it's getting serious to the point where we can definitely see Smithers has big feelings for Mr. Burns. Obviously, Mr. Burns can't see it.
Yeah, because he quote Mr. Burns does say, "Oh, this idea of me having my picture paintings is as stupid as the idea of you saying I should have children."
Yeah.
But again, that's a bit contradictory as well. He wants to have kids, but at the same point, he's infatuated with Mr. Burns. So how, unless they're talking adoption or something weird, something like that. But again, as we find out in a later episode, he's got an illegitimate child. But he doesn't know about him at this point. So again, you can sort of write it off anyway.
Completely different people, but we'll get onto that later on in the series.
But yeah, from here, because Marge has won first prize in this painting contest, Smithers says maybe they should ask her to do the picture. The fact that she's married to Homer, the word that she'll be easily intimidated.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mr. Burns then goes off into the fact of, someone up there must like me, to the point of like, yes, Smithers' feelings for him. Well, someone down here likes you too, sir. Which Mr. Burns just tells him to shut up about anyway. Basically getting back to the house, Mr. Burns and Smithers turning up.
And as fair as Mr. Burns is, he tries the doorknob, doesn't really make any noise. He's wondering why they don't answer. That's when Mr. Smithers
has to knock seven bells out the door, basically.
So we know, we're starting to figure out now that Mr. Burns isn't strong. He's a frail, weak old man. And we find out in later seasons that he's got every illness under the sun, basically.
Yeah, to the fact of he's got so many illnesses that they all counterbalance each other out. So he's basically, although he's got all the illnesses in the world, they're all confined in such a space that not one of them can kill him, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, again,
we'll get to that later on.
But yeah, from here, he basically invites himself in anyway. But he's starting to, but then Marge's like, would you like to come in?
Yeah, but he's the richest man in Springfield and the most powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, this is where he asks Marge to paint his picture for him. Basically, he's not being very pleasant anyway at the house. You
have Maggie on his leg.
To the point that he's like, get her off, get her
Marge
off.
said she's just a baby.
But yeah, she tolerates this anyway. It seems a bit strange what happens later on, but still it's a child and he's like being all nasty to her. Homer subsequently weighed himself again. He's down to 249, so the diet is actually working for him, which is a surprise for Homer.
Yeah.
Something actually working. But yeah, we then sort of segue into Mr. Burns deciding he's going to get changed in the Simpsons bathroom.
Yeah, would you really?
Yeah.
And you'd ask, firstly.
But again, richest person in Springfield, he probably thinks he owns the Simpsons house and they should really knock anyway.
And he thinks he can do what he wants.
Yeah. Obviously, Marge is a bit embarrassed by this, but Bart being Bart. He's like, did he have those spots on his bum?
And Mr. Burns obviously heard him.
Yeah. But again, it's Mr. Burns. His hearing may not be that good anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah. And basically, we get to a point where Smithers is making tea for Mr. Burns, and Marge is questioning, does it not bother him the fact that he's got to wait on him hand and foot?
Yeah, and he says he's his best friend.
Yeah.
But then Mr. Burns spills the tea on Smithers.
Yeah, he's like, this tea's too hot, throws at him, and then Smithers is like, yeah, it's scolding me as we speak. And Marge is quite annoyed at this, basically, because at this point she's getting quite annoyed with Mr. Burns in general.
I don't get why Smithers puts up with it. I know he says he's his best friend and he loves him, but I don't get why he puts up with it. Because we never know how much Mr. Burns pays him, and knowing Mr. Burns, it's probably not enough.
Yeah, I think it might have been hinted at in a later episode that he's... I mean, it's Mr. Burns, so he's obviously being paid, not peanuts, but maybe under contracted salaried for what would be minimum, should we say. But yeah, obviously his feelings for him are so strong that he...
Poor Smithers working for someone like that.
Yeah, but he loves him, so it's fine. He just tries to see the inner beauty in him. But yeah, at this point, Homer weighs himself the final time in this episode. He's down to £239 now. But this is where it leads to the final straw for Marge. Mr. Byrne just makes fun of him. It's like, what, you're happy about your weight? My God, man, you're the fattest thing I've seen, and I've been on safari. But yeah, Marge just gets so angry with this and throws Mr. Byrne... Well, not throws him out, but basically says she can do the paint without him, but clearly she's angry with him.
Yeah, she's not that type of person to throw someone out. She's not got the personality to actually do that, has she?
But yeah, we see Marge actually clearly caring for Homer, the fact he's actually trying to make a difference.
Well, then she went bothered too much about Maggie. When Mr. Burns was moaning about Maggie, but then when he talks about Homer's weight being in fattest person he's seen.
Considering with the Maggie element when they're at Mount Splashmore in the episode, she's going on to Maggie about staying in the shallow end in the kiddie pool, even though really the kiddie pool weren't that deep anyway. She weren't going to drown in it. To the fact of, well, Mr. Burns is treating her like this and she doesn't care. She's more concerned about drowning in a pool that she can't really drown in.
Well, would you leave your kid in a pool like that anyway?
I mean, she was in the pool with him to begin with, but it's just the case of, she thinks she can drown in the pool and being concerned about that. Clearly it can't happen.
Yeah.
But she's not really too bothered when Mr. Burns is not being violent, but really obviously showing he doesn't really care for having a child on his leg. When other people probably be like, oh, it's a child, and maybe try not to flick them off sort of thing.
Yeah. But this is Mr. Burns.
Yeah. But again, on the other side of it, yeah, she's showing basically a nice side towards Homer, the fact of being annoyed at what Mr. Burns is saying, but at the same point, does Homer show this side when it happens to Marge?
No, I don't think he does. It seems to always be a one-way street. Marge sticks up for Homer on numerous occasions. Well, then, yeah, Homer does stick up for Marge sometimes, but it's not it's not like the way Marge would do it.
Yeah, even to the point of when Apu tries to get her put in prison for shoplifting. It's like he was upset about it, but not angry, sort of thing. Or there wasn't that anger towards Apu. I mean, I think he was still going to the Quickie Mart anyway.
Yeah.
it's like, well, there's loyalty for you. This guy's trying to lock your wife up and you're still giving him custom.
That's Homer for you.
But yeah.
He only seems to care about himself.
But again, the relationship as a whole is a strange one. As you say, it's one of our best qualities of The Simpsons whenever they get into arguments and break up and get back together. But yeah, at this point, she's basically doesn't want to do Mr. Burns' painting anymore. Homer's trying to convince us to do it because he's scared of the fact that because Mr. Burns is his boss, like you say, that he could potentially get fired or could make his life a living nightmare.
Well, like that guy who Mr. Burns gets to whip Homer in one of the episodes.
Exactly.
He may get him involved.
Because he's not exactly employee of the year or employee of the year, basically. He isn't one of those. It's
no. Laziest employer of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, in the meantime, because Marge has sent fan mail to Ringo Starr in the past, he's finally got round to returning the fan mail all these years later.
A bit unrealistic. All these years later, he gets the fan mail finally and then sends a reply.
Yeah, it is a weird way to do it. But yeah, from this weirdness, you get Marge then agreeing to do the painting. Obviously, she's doing it because she's happy about the fact she's finally got a response from her idol.
Then she realises she can't do a portrait of Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
Because she can't do him because he doesn't look that nice.
Well, she's trying to do portraits. I mean, to begin with, say she decides to do it because of Ringo Starr replying, but she makes Homer feel better by saying, "Oh yeah, if you think I can do it." But again, I think that's just another case of trying to make Homer feel better because he tries to ruin his diet by trying to squirt whipped cream into his mouth straight away because he's that upset.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, she tries, but she just can't think of a way to paint him because all she sees is this horrible old man. But this basically just leads to the final scene. We get to the art gallery. At this point, no one's seen the painting because it's behind the robe. Which again always gets me to this day. Even in real life, you don't get many people who actually see a painting before it's unveiled. Seems a bit weird. Yeah. Surely someone's, especially in this instance.
Maybe they wanted to see the excitement.
But yeah, leads into Mr. Burns tries to unveil it again. His frailness. Mr. Smithers has to pull the rope, and you just see it in all its glory. It's basically the image that Marge saw earlier with him in the bathroom, and she's basically painted him in the nude.
Was she making a joke out of him in the painting, would you say?
I don't think a joke. I think it's more the case of...
portraying the actual Mr. Burns, but in an anger state.
She was working in anger because of the whole way that he reacted to Homer trying to lose weight. So it's like it was anger, so showing him up, but then at the same point trying to put a meaning behind it by saying, I wanted to show how frail he was and all this. And this is the point where you find out this art teacher who thinks everything is wonderful, before Marge gives her explanations like, I don't like this. So it's like he likes everything apart from nude paintings.
But everyone else eventually seemed to like it.
Yeah, even to the point of Miss Hoover. She's like, I don't like the man, but he's going to die, so I like the painting.
Yeah.
And then we basically just end off. Mr. Burns goes to Marge. He's not angry about the painting. He appreciates it. And then he leaves with the fact of, thanks for not making fun of my genitalia.
But she actually was.
Yeah. And yet, basically, this is the episode where the episode ends, as you say, just going, I thought I was making fun of his genitalia. And yet, as I say, this is basically the episode's ending, basically.
Yep. Got bits about the episode?
Yeah. Start off with a slight animation issue. I think this is happening in another episode, but when Carl's speaking in one of the scenes, he's actually voiced by Lenny.
Yeah, it has happened in a previous episode.
I don't know. Did they? I think they swapped voices, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
But
yeah.
I think this is the first instance where it's just been Lenny portraying Carl without it being vice versa.
Yeah.
But also, the scene where Krusty's being interviewed after Homer's incident at the park. He gets into such a fluster that he starts wiping off the white makeup, even though in the episode Homer's Triple Bypass, it's basically said that Krusty getting a pacemaker permanently bleached his skin white.
Yeah, that's right.
But again, maybe you can shove that off by being the fact of maybe added pacemaker after this.
Maybe. And also, during the scene of the lineup at Mount Splashmore, there is a frame of an optical illusion similar to the ascending and descending print from the artist MC Escher.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, those stairs that
yeah,
sort of...
that's
so
right.
You can't tell whether they're up or down, sort of thing. Also, in the background at the museum, there's a copy of Andy Warhol's famous Campbell's soup cans painting.
Yeah. And also, much of the music and scenes of Homer's workouts are similar to the training montage in Rocky.
Yeah.
Which you can see that in the episode.
Yeah. But obviously, Homer's version of working out. But yeah, just to keep in line with his weight, when he's weighing himself, the theme music that you hear is the good, the bad and the ugly.
Yeah.
And yeah. Also, when he decides to go on a diet, he says, "As God is my witness, I'll always be hungry again." This is actually a reference to Scarlett O'Hara's quote, "As God is my witness, I'll never be hungry again," from Gone with the Wind.
There's quite another reference there.
Yeah, and going back to Mount Splashmore, the long line that we mentioned before, some of the people that you see in the lineup, you see J. Lauren Pryor, Otto's there, Kim, Howard Sr., one of the Springfield Nuclear Power Plant wives, a bold mother, who's a bit weird, and a keyboard player.
Yeah, these are the ones where you've got to look close when you're watching an episode. Like we said previously, there's always going to be another character in the background. So like if you pause it at a certain bit and you look around, you will see different characters from The Simpsons in bits of the scenes in episodes. So if they're not actually in the episode, but technically they will be in the episode, but as a background character, basically.
Yeah. Anything else to add to the episode?
I think that's it, to be honest. Let's go to positive and negatives. First of all, let's start with the negatives like we always seem to do.
Yeah, slight negative, Marge's original art teacher being so
picky and not saying anything nice about the painting Marge drew.
To basically lead Marge to give up on painting anyway.
Or was this the art teacher being a bit jealous of Marge's painting? He thought it was better than he could have done, or...
Well, I think in the end he was getting a bit annoyed at the fact she kept on painting the same person in the pictures, basically.
Obsessive, yeah.
Yeah. But then on the other side of it, speaking of art teachers, another negative, possibly the other art teacher being too full on and liking everything to an extent, even to the extent of when he's praising her, he even quotes, "I don't take praise very well." But it's like,
yeah, well, that's right, yeah.
You like everything. I mean, it's just that dynamic when you put both of them together. It's like, really, can you not have somewhere in between? Someone that praises but still gives criticism at the same point.
Well, you'd think that, wouldn't you?
Because at the same point, obviously, yeah, Marge was discouraged from painting because of her old art tutor. But at the same point, she got herself into the predicament of painting Mr. Burns because of the current one, thinking she's so fantastic. Even though she did win first prize, at the same point, maybe she got a bit more confidence than because at the end of the episode, she's like, she can't think of a way to paint Mr. Burns because he's given her too much confidence to the fact that she can paint, but once she's put in that corner, she can't think of a way out of it.
But then she did paint him in the end, and people did actually like it. Another negative, I would say Homer at Mount Splashmore when he was going down the slide. The worker should have known that he won't fit in the tubes, but really the tubes, if they're the same size like we said before, wouldn't he have got stuck at the top rather than, wasn't halfway, was it? Nearly halfway.
No,
but
it was one of those. He went round a bend and then just got stuck.
Yeah. But then when he sent more kids down, wouldn't that make the problem even worse?
Yeah,
and more dangerous as well.
It was more the kids' solution that was a problem. It's like, okay, they don't think that it's a human being down there, but it's the same point. They don't know what the blockage is. It could be anything.
Exactly.
And it's just like, oh, just send kids to dislodge it. It just, I mean, to be fair, even if it wasn't human, would kids have even been able to dislodge something like that?
No.
But to be lodged, it must have been stuck pretty fast, and to not even tell the kids, oh, you're going down to dislodge something. It's like, yeah, but again, not really caring for the theme park.
No.
Any other negatives?
I think that's it for the negatives, unless you can think of another negative about the episode.
Nah.
Mr. Burns can be a negative in the episode.
This is the conflict of interest to it, isn't it? Though, we'll put it in the negative column for some people who may not like Mr. Burns like we do. For us, Mr. Burns isn't a negative anyway.
Exactly, he's a positive. I like him.
To be fully politically correct, yeah, he is grumpy. He is basically his evil character.
And the way he doesn't respect Smithers in the episode
puts Homer
as well.
down.
Yeah.
The fact in this episode, he sort of makes out that the Simpsons house is his. He just does stuff without asking, like getting changed in the bathroom and not telling them. So yeah, that can come across as a bit too full on. The fact of, oh yeah, I'll just get changed wherever I want. I'll do whatever I want in your house, sort of thing.
Another negative, I'd say Smithers. It's a negative and it's not. It's sort of being too soft with Mr. Burns, just taking everything he dishes out because he's his best friend and he loves him. But he just takes anything, basically. Yeah, even to a hot cup of tea thrown on him.
But again, that's Smithers in general. That's a negative of the entire character, because it's obviously the thread that keeps going throughout the series, sort of thing. And the fact he'll put up with anything that Mr. Burns does to him because he loves him so much.
Yeah.
Other negatives, or is that it for
negatives? I think that's it for negatives. Positive, well, Marge not giving up on a painting, and Lisa even encouraging Marge to not give up on it as well, basically.
Yeah. And just, basically this whole painting element in general. Again, maybe the fact she was able to paint so good after all the years, again, that might be a slight negative there, but she not have needed time to actually get back into the rhythm of it.
You'd think so.
Yeah. But again, just a nitpick there.
Homer.
I'm going to say Homer's determination to lose weight, which is his first instance, because obviously throughout the series he's never really wanted to lose weight.
No.
Or he said in previous episodes, oh, I'm gonna try, but then never tries. So really, the first instance of him try and lose the weight, and actually succeeding to a fact, losing nearly 30 pounds in the episode. So something that Homer actually succeeds in the end.
Doesn't do it often, but
yeah. But obviously it'll obviously go back to normal later episodes. But yeah, for the time being, he's actually succeeded at something.
I'd say a positive at the end, Mr. Burns, where he does like the painting Marge do of him. So he actually gives her a compliment in the end.
Yeah, just that painting in general, the fact that Marge managed to paint Mr. Burns in such a light, but still managed to give a reason for it that people agreed with, about it being seen as she was angry or trying to take revenge or something like that. So at the end, although she says, oh yes, she's making fun of his genitalia, it comes across the fact of well, yeah, I was angry with him, but I wasn't doing it out of anger. Even though it's mixed emotions. It's like she could have been doing it out of anger, or she could have just been doing it to prove a point. But the fact she manages to paint it and give a reason so that everyone, including Mr. Burns, actually thinks the painting is good.
Yeah. You don't really see Bart much of the story in this one, do you?
No, it's strange considering the fact at this point Bartomania is sort of
still popular.
Yeah. Maybe that explains.
Maybe they were testing the water to see what would it be like if they did an episode with another Simpsons character without Bart really being in the picture, see how popular it would be.
But at the end, I think it's one of those, you can't rely on one character.
That's maybe why he did it.
Otherwise, he just had Bart in every single.
Yeah, that's why
episode.
he tried it. Yeah.
But yeah, that's possibly a reason as well why the figures are declining at the moment. Slightly declining because of the fact Bart's not getting a prominent role.
Yeah.
As we say, you look at the earlier episodes of this series. The Bart episodes were the ones that were getting the higher ratings, basically. So maybe it's a fact of we're seeing the first glimpse of the fact that, yeah, people are liking The Simpsons, but Bart is mainly the character that the majority of people like and are being driven towards, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any other?
Lisa as a whole was a positive, encouraging her mum Marge to continue with her painting.
Yeah, in fairness, yeah. Because in this episode, she doesn't really have any of her qualities that some people may see as being annoying or bad. She's not trying to protest anything or
just
be
encouraging
upset or stuff like that. She is actually giving something towards the main story arc with Marge.
She's doing something Homer should have done, encouraged her more.
Yeah, but again, it's Homer. If he'd have started encouraging, it might have seemed a bit out of place.
Yeah, true.
Even though Marge encourages Homer all the time, or goes along with all his harebrained ideas, even though
most of them fail.
Yeah. So really, in this episode, it's really the kids are the bit part characters, bit of motivation, and for a change, it's Homer and Marge who are the forefront anyway.
Yeah.
But it still works. Obviously, you can't really go wrong too much by having Mr. Burns part of the storyline.
No.
He always brings his uniqueness to it.
He's still a good character.
Exactly. One of the better characters of the series. Well, top two of supporting characters at least, if not top two of characters of a whole in The Simpsons. But again, maybe one day we'll get on to top characters.
I'd like that. That'd be a good one to do.
But yeah, any other positives or negatives?
I think that's it, to be honest. I think we'll call that a wrap. If we've missed anything about the episode or you can think of a positive and a negative, put your comment down below.
Like, share, subscribe.
And we'll see you in the next video.